What if I told you that your mental attitude is not just something you're born with, but a skill you can develop and strengthen like a muscle? That the difference between people who thrive under pressure and those who crumble isn't luck, genetics, or circumstances, but something far more powerful and within your control. Most people believe that positivity is either fake motivation or something that comes naturally to lucky individuals. They think that developing a positive mental attitude means ignoring reality, pretending problems don't exist, or forcing yourself to smile through pain. But that couldn't be further from the truth. An unbreakable positive mental attitude isn't about toxic positivity or delusional thinking. It's about developing a bulletproof mindset that allows you to see opportunities where others see obstacles, find solutions where others find excuses, and maintain unwavering confidence even when everything around you is falling apart. The most successful people in history, from Nelson Mandela to Oprah Winfrey, from Thomas Edison to Michael Jordan, didn't achieve greatness despite facing adversity. They achieved greatness because they developed an unbreakable positive mental attitude that transformed every setback into a setup for a comeback. Today, you're going to learn the exact blueprint for developing this same unshakable mindset. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have a complete system for rewiring your brain, transforming your inner dialogue, and building the kind of mental resilience that makes you unstoppable in any situation. Chapter 1: The Science of Mental Attitude. Why your brain is wired for negativity. Your brain is not your friend when it comes to staying positive. In fact, it's working against you every single day. And until you understand this fundamental truth, you'll continue to struggle with maintaining a positive mental attitude, no matter how motivated you feel in the moment. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain has a built-in negativity bias that was essential for human survival, but is now sabotaging your success and happiness. This bias, confirmed by decades of neuroscience research, means your brain is literally hardwired to focus on threats, dangers, and problems rather than opportunities and solutions. Dr. Rick Hansen, a neuropsychologist at UC Berkeley, explains that your brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. When something good happens, your brain barely registers it. But when something bad happens, it gets stored in your long-term memory with incredible detail and emotional intensity. This is why you can receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism. And guess which one keeps you awake at night? The negativity bias served our ancestors well when they needed to remember which plants were poisonous or which predators to avoid. But in modern life, it creates a mental environment where you're constantly scanning for problems, expecting the worst, and focusing on what could go wrong rather than what could go right. But here's the revolutionary discovery that changes everything. Neuroplasticity. Your brain is not fixed. It can be rewired, reshaped, and retrained at any age. The neural pathways that currently default to negative thinking can be weakened, while new pathways that support positive thinking can be strengthened through deliberate practice. Dr. Martin Seligman's groundbreaking research at the University of Pennsylvania proved that optimism is a learnable skill. In his studies with thousands of participants, he demonstrated that people can literally rewire their brains to become more optimistic, resilient, and positive through specific mental exercises and thought patterns. The key lies in understanding that your thoughts are not facts and your initial emotional reactions are not permanent. Every time you choose to reframe a negative thought, challenge a pessimistic assumption, or focus on a solution rather than a problem, you're strengthening the neural pathways associated with positive thinking. This is why developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude isn't about willpower or motivation. It's about understanding how your brain works and using science-based techniques to reprogram your mental operating system. When you consistently practice these techniques, positive thinking becomes automatic, natural, and effortless. The most important realization is this: you are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the architect of your mental environment. And with the right tools and techniques, you can build an unbreakable foundation of positivity that will serve you for the rest of your life. Chapter 2: The 4 Pillars of Unbreakable Positivity. Most people try to develop a positive mental attitude through random acts of optimism, reading inspirational quotes, or forcing themselves to think happy thoughts. But sustainable positivity isn't built on fleeting emotions or surface-level affirmations. It's built on 4 fundamental pillars that work together to create an unshakable foundation of mental strength. The first pillar is cognitive mastery, which is your ability to control and direct your thoughts rather than being controlled by them. This isn't about suppressing negative thoughts or pretending problems don't exist. It's about developing the skill to observe your thoughts objectively, evaluate their accuracy and usefulness, and consciously choose which thoughts deserve your attention and energy. Most people are completely unconscious of their thinking patterns. They have the same negative thoughts day after day, creating the same emotional states and producing the same results. Cognitive mastery means becoming aware of these automatic thought patterns and learning to interrupt them before they spiral into negativity. The technique starts with thought awareness. Throughout your day, you need to catch yourself thinking and ask 3 critical questions. Is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? Is this thought moving me toward my goals or away from them? If the answer to any of these questions is no, you have the power to choose a different thought. The second pillar is emotional regulation, which is your ability to manage your emotional state regardless of external circumstances. Emotions are not something that happens to you. They're something you create through your thoughts, focus, and physiology. When you master emotional regulation, you become the thermostat of your own emotional climate rather than the thermometer that simply reacts to whatever's happening around you. This pillar requires understanding that emotions follow a predictable pattern. Every emotion begins with a trigger which leads to a thought which creates a feeling which drives behavior which produces results. Most people try to change their results without changing the pattern. But emotional regulation means intervening at the thought level before the negative emotion gains momentum. The technique involves the emotional reset protocol. When you feel negative emotions building, you immediately shift your focus to 3 things you're grateful for. Take 10 deep breaths while visualizing yourself in a peaceful place and ask yourself what this situation is trying to teach you or how it could serve your long-term growth. The third pillar is solution-focused thinking, which is your ability to automatically shift from problem-focused mode to solution-focused mode whenever challenges arise. This is perhaps the most powerful distinguishing factor between people with unbreakable positivity and those who get overwhelmed by life's inevitable difficulties. Problem-focused thinking asks questions like, why is this happening to me? What if it gets worse? Who's to blame? These questions create a mental loop that generates more problems, more stress, and more negativity. Solution-focused thinking asks different questions. What can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow stronger? What's the opportunity hidden within this challenge? What's one small step I can take right now to improve the situation? The shift in questions creates a completely different mental and emotional experience. Instead of feeling like a victim, you feel empowered. Instead of feeling stuck, you feel motivated. Instead of seeing obstacles, you see stepping stones. The fourth pillar is future-focused visualization, which is your ability to maintain a clear, compelling vision of your desired future even when your current reality doesn't match that vision. This pillar is based on the psychological principle that your brain is constantly working to move you toward whatever you focus on most consistently. When you regularly visualize your goals, dreams, and ideal future self with emotional intensity, you program your subconscious mind to notice opportunities, make connections, and take actions that align with that vision. This isn't wishful thinking. It's strategic mental programming that influences your decisions, behavior, and results at an unconscious level. These 4 pillars work synergistically. Cognitive mastery gives you control over your thoughts. Emotional regulation gives you control over your feelings. Solution-focused thinking gives you control over your responses to challenges. And future-focused visualization gives you control over your direction and motivation. Together they create an unbreakable foundation of positivity that can withstand any storm. Chapter 3. Rewiring your internal dialogue from self-sabotage to self-empowerment. The conversation you have with yourself every day is the most important conversation of your life. Yet most people pay no attention to it whatsoever. Your internal dialogue, also known as self-talk, is the running commentary in your mind that interprets every experience, evaluates every situation, and influences every decision you make. Here's the shocking truth. The average person has between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. And research shows that 80% of those thoughts are negative and 95% are repetitive. This means you're having the same negative thoughts over and over again, creating the same negative emotions and reinforcing the same limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in patterns of mediocrity and disappointment. Your internal dialogue operates like a 24-hour news channel broadcasting in your head. And right now, it's probably broadcasting mostly bad news. It's telling you what's wrong, what could go wrong, why things won't work out, why you're not good enough, why you should worry, and why you should expect the worst. This negative programming is so constant and automatic that you don't even realize it's happening, but it's shaping your reality in profound ways. Dr. Rashad Helmstetter, one of the world's leading experts on self-talk, discovered that by the time you're 18 years old, you've been told no or what you can't do more than 148,000 times. You've been conditioned to focus on limitations, problems, and reasons why things won't work. This conditioning becomes your internal dialogue, and your internal dialogue becomes your reality. But here's the life-changing news. You can rewrite this internal program. You can transform your inner critic into your inner coach, your internal skeptic into your internal cheerleader, and your mental enemy into your mental ally. The process requires conscious effort and consistent practice, but the results are nothing short of transformational. The first step is developing awareness of your current self-talk patterns. For the next week, you need to become an observer of your own thoughts. Carry a small notebook or use your phone to track your internal dialogue. Every time you catch yourself having a negative thought, write it down. Don't judge it. Don't try to change it yet. Just observe and record. Most people are shocked by what they discover. They realize they're constantly telling themselves things like, "I'm not smart enough. I'll probably fail. I don't have what it takes. This is too hard. I'm not lucky. Good things don't happen to people like me." These thoughts are so habitual they feel true, but they're actually just mental habits that can be changed. The second step is challenging and reframing these negative thought patterns. Every negative thought you've identified needs to be put on trial. You become the prosecutor, defense attorney, and judge of your own thoughts. Ask yourself, where's the evidence that this thought is true? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? What would I tell my best friend if they had this thought? What's a more empowering way to think about this situation? For example, instead of "I'm not smart enough," you could think "I'm constantly learning and growing." Instead of "I'll probably fail," you could think "I'm going to give this my best effort and learn from whatever happens." Instead of "This is too hard," you could think "This is challenging, which means it will help me grow stronger." The third step is consciously installing new empowering thought patterns through repetition and emotional intensity. Your brain learns through repetition. So you need to consciously repeat your new positive thoughts until they become automatic. But repetition alone isn't enough. You need to add emotional intensity to make these new thoughts stick. Create a list of empowering self-talk statements that reflect the mindset you want to develop. Statements like, "I am capable of handling whatever comes my way. I find solutions to every challenge I face. I am constantly attracting opportunities and success. I learn and grow from every experience. I am becoming stronger and more resilient every day." Repeat these statements every morning with conviction and emotion. Visualize yourself embodying these beliefs. Feel what it would feel like if these thoughts were completely true. The more emotion you attach to these new thought patterns, the faster they'll become your new mental default. The fourth step is pattern interruption for when negative thoughts arise. Despite your best efforts, negative thoughts will still pop up from time to time. When they do, You need an immediate pattern interrupt to prevent them from gaining momentum. The moment you catch a negative thought, say stop. Either out loud or in your mind. Take a deep breath and immediately replace it with one of your empowering statements. Some people find it helpful to wear a rubber band on their wrist and snap it whenever they catch themselves thinking negatively. The physical sensation creates a pattern interrupt that breaks the negative thought loop and reminds them to choose a more empowering thought. Your internal dialogue is either your greatest asset or your greatest liability. When you take control of this conversation and transform it from self-sabotage to self-empowerment, you literally rewire your brain for success, confidence, and unbreakable positivity. Chapter 4. The Gratitude Revolution. How appreciation transforms your brain chemistry. Gratitude is not just a nice-to-have emotional luxury or a polite social courtesy. It's a scientifically proven brain-changing practice that can literally rewire your neural networks, alter your brain chemistry, and transform your entire psychological and emotional experience of life. When practiced consistently and systematically, gratitude becomes the foundation for unbreakable positivity and one of the most powerful tools for mental transformation. Dr. Robert Emmons, the world's leading scientific expert on gratitude and professor at UC Davis, has conducted groundbreaking research that reveals gratitude's profound impact on the brain. His studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience a 23% reduction in stress hormones, a 13% reduction in anxiety and depression, and significant improvements in sleep quality, immune function, and overall life satisfaction. But here's what makes gratitude truly revolutionary. It doesn't just make you feel better temporarily. It actually changes the structure and function of your brain. MRI scans of people who practice gratitude regularly show increased activity in the hypothalamus, the region that regulates stress, and increased activity in the ventral tegmental area, the region associated with pleasure and reward. This means gratitude literally rewires your brain to naturally focus more on positive experiences and feel more satisfaction from everyday moments. The reason gratitude is so powerful lies in its ability to counteract your brain's negativity bias. Remember, your brain is naturally wired to focus on problems, threats, and what's missing. Gratitude forces your brain to focus on what's working, what's abundant, and what's positive in your life. When you consistently practice gratitude, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with positive thinking while weakening the pathways associated with negativity and complaint. Most people think gratitude means saying thank you when someone holds a door or writing in a gratitude journal once in a while when they remember. But transformational gratitude is much more systematic and strategic. It's a comprehensive mental training program that gradually shifts your entire worldview from scarcity to abundance, from focusing on what's wrong to appreciating what's right. The first level of transformational gratitude is basic appreciation, where you regularly acknowledge the obvious good things in your life. This includes your health, relationships, opportunities, possessions, experiences, and achievements. But you can't just think about these things casually. You need to feel genuine appreciation for them. The emotional component is crucial because emotions create the neural changes that transform your brain every morning and evening. Spend 5 minutes focusing intensely on 3 things you're grateful for. But don't just list them. Really feel the appreciation in your body. Think about why you're grateful for each thing, how it benefits your life, and what your life would be like without it. The more specific and emotional you can be, the more powerful the impact on your brain. The second level is challenging gratitude, where you find things to appreciate in difficult situations, setbacks, and even failures. This is where gratitude becomes truly transformational because it trains your brain to automatically look for benefits, lessons, and opportunities in every experience, regardless of how challenging it might initially appear when something goes wrong. Instead of immediately focusing on the problem, ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this situation? What is this teaching me? How could this ultimately serve my growth or lead to something better? What strengths is this helping me develop? These questions reprogram your brain to see challenges as gifts rather than curses. The third level is anticipatory gratitude, where you feel appreciation for future experiences, opportunities, and achievements as if they've already happened. This level is particularly powerful because it programs your subconscious mind to expect good things and notice opportunities that align with your grateful expectations. Spend time each day feeling grateful for goals you're working toward, dreams you want to achieve, and positive experiences you want to have. Feel the emotions you'll experience when these things happen. Thank the universe, God, or whatever higher power you believe in for these future blessings. This practice creates a positive expectation that influences your thoughts, decisions, and actions in ways that make these future experiences more likely to occur. The fourth level is universal gratitude, where you develop appreciation for existence itself, for consciousness, for the miracle of being alive, and for the incredible complexity and beauty of the universe you're part of. This level connects you to something bigger than yourself and creates a profound sense of peace, wonder, and joy that becomes the foundation for unbreakable positivity. When you practice all four levels of gratitude consistently, something magical happens. Your brain begins to automatically scan for things to appreciate throughout your day. You start noticing beauty you previously overlooked, opportunities you previously missed, and blessings you previously took for granted. Your default emotional state shifts from neutral or negative to positive and appreciative. Gratitude becomes a lens through which you view your entire life, and that lens transforms everything you see. Problems become puzzles to solve. Setbacks become setups for comebacks, and ordinary moments become sources of joy and wonder. This is the gratitude revolution, and it's the secret to maintaining unbreakable positivity regardless of external circumstances. Chapter 5. Mastering your mental environment. Controlling what goes into your mind. Your mind is like a garden. And just like any garden, what grows there depends entirely on what seeds you plant. And what you allow to take root. Every day, thousands of thoughts, images, sounds, and influences are competing for space in your mental garden. The question is, are you consciously choosing what to plant, or are you allowing weeds of negativity, doubt, and limiting beliefs to grow wild? Most people are completely unconscious about what they allow into their mental environment. They consume negative news, engage in pessimistic conversations, surround themselves with complainers and critics, and fill their minds with violent, depressing, or anxiety-inducing content through television, social media, and entertainment. Then they wonder why they struggle to maintain a positive mental attitude. Here's a fundamental truth that will change your life. You become what you consistently expose your mind to. Your brain is constantly absorbing information from your environment and using that information to shape your beliefs, expectations, and worldview. If you're consistently exposing yourself to negativity, your brain will wire itself for negativity. If you consistently expose yourself to positivity, success, and possibility, your brain will wire itself accordingly. Dr. Jim Rohn, one of the greatest personal development philosophers, said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But this principle goes far beyond just the people in your immediate circle. You're also being influenced by every book you read, every show you watch, every song you listen to, every website you visit, and every conversation you participate in. The first step in mastering your mental environment is conducting a complete audit of your current inputs. For 1 week, track everything you're exposing your mind to. Write down every TV show, every news article, every social media scroll, every conversation, every song, and every piece of content you consume. Then evaluate each input by asking, is this making me more positive or more negative? Is this inspiring me or discouraging me? Is this helping me grow or keeping me stuck? Most people are shocked by what they discover. They realize they're spending hours each day consuming negative news that makes them anxious about the future. Watching shows that glorify drama and conflict. Scrolling through social media that makes them feel inadequate, and engaging in conversations that focus on problems rather than solutions. The second step is ruthlessly eliminating negative inputs from your mental diet. Just like you wouldn't knowingly eat poisonous food because it would damage your physical health, you need to stop consuming mental poison that damages your psychological health. This means turning off the news, unfollowing negative social media accounts, avoiding toxic people, and eliminating entertainment that promotes violence, hopelessness, or destructive values. This step often creates resistance because people are addicted to negative stimulation. They think they need to stay informed about every tragedy, crisis, and problem in the world. But here's the truth. Consuming negative news doesn't make you more informed. It makes you more anxious, pessimistic, and helpless. The vast majority of news has zero impact on your actual life and zero influence on your ability to solve problems or create positive change. The third step is consciously curating positive inputs that support the mindset you want to develop. This means intentionally choosing books, podcasts, videos, music, and people that inspire you, educate you, and reinforce positive beliefs about what's possible in your life. Create a morning routine that fills your mind with positivity before you encounter any external negativity. This might include reading inspirational books, listening to motivational podcasts, watching educational videos, or engaging in conversations with positive, successful people. The first hour of your day sets the tone for your entire mental and emotional experience. Create an evening routine that ends your day on a positive note. Instead of watching the news or scrolling through social media before bed, read something inspiring, listen to calming music, or practice gratitude. What you put into your mind right before sleep has a profound impact on your subconscious programming and your mental state the next morning. The fourth step is building a personal board of directors in your mind. Identify 5 to 10 people who embody the qualities, attitudes, and success you want to develop in your own life. These can be people you know personally, historical figures, authors, speakers, or anyone who inspires you. Study their biographies, read their books, watch their interviews, and immerse yourself in their wisdom and perspective. When you face challenging decisions or difficult situations, ask yourself, what would insert name do in this situation? How would they think about this problem? What advice would they give me? This technique allows you to tap into the wisdom and mindset of highly successful positive people even when they're not physically present. The fifth step is creating positive anchors throughout your environment. Place inspirational quotes on your walls. Save motivational images on your phone. Listen to uplifting music during your commute and surround yourself with visual reminders of your goals, values, and positive beliefs. These anchors serve as constant programming for your subconscious mind and help maintain your positive mental state throughout the day. Your mental environment is either supporting your growth or sabotaging your success. When you take conscious control of what you allow into your mind, you create the foundation for unbreakable positivity and unlimited potential. Chapter 6. Building Bulletproof Mental Resilience. How to bounce back stronger from any setback. Mental resilience is not about avoiding difficulties or pretending that challenges don't affect you. It's about developing the psychological strength to face any adversity head-on, learn from it, grow through it, and emerge stronger than before. Resilient people don't experience fewer problems than others. They simply have a fundamentally different relationship with problems. The difference between people who crumble under pressure and those who thrive under pressure isn't genetic luck or circumstances. It's a specific set of mental skills and perspectives that can be learned, developed, and strengthened through deliberate practice. When you master these skills, you become virtually unstoppable because you know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the inner resources to handle it and turn it into an advantage. Dr. Martin Seligman's research at the University of Pennsylvania identified the core difference between resilient and non-resilient people, their explanatory style. This is how they explain setbacks, failures, and negative events to themselves. Non-resilient people use what he calls the 3 petaseconds. They see setbacks as personal. It's my fault, permanent. This will never change, and pervasive. This affects everything in my life. Resilient people do the opposite. They see setbacks as temporary, specific, and external. When a non-resilient person loses a job, they think I'm a failure. Personal. I'll never find anything good again. Permanent. And my whole life is ruined. Pervasive. When a resilient person loses a job, they think this company wasn't the right fit. External. This is a temporary setback. Temporary. And this only affects my career, not my worth as a person. Specific. This difference in thinking creates completely different emotional and behavioral responses. The non-resilient person becomes depressed, stops trying, and fulfills their own negative prophecy. The resilient person feels disappointed but motivated, takes action to improve their situation, and often ends up in a better position than before. The first component of bulletproof resilience is developing anti-fragility, a concept introduced by Nassim Taleb. Antifragility goes beyond resilience. Resilient things bounce back to their original state after stress. But antifragile things actually get stronger from stress. Your goal is to become mentally antifragile, where every challenge, setback, and difficulty makes you more capable, more confident, and more prepared for future success. To develop antifragility, you need to completely reframe your relationship with adversity. Instead of seeing challenges as threats to be avoided, you see them as training opportunities. Instead of seeing setbacks as evidence that you're not capable, you see them as feedback that helps you improve. Instead of seeing failures as reasons to quit, you see them as stepping stones to success. Every time you face a difficult situation, ask yourself, how is this making me stronger? What skills is this helping me develop? What is this teaching me that will serve me in the future? How can I use this experience to help others who face similar challenges? These questions transform adversity from something that weakens you into something that strengthens you. The second component is building emotional flexibility, which is your ability to experience negative emotions without being overwhelmed by them or defining yourself by them. Most people either suppress negative emotions, which creates internal pressure and eventual explosion, or they become completely consumed by negative emotions, which paralyzes their ability to think clearly and take effective action. Emotional flexibility means you can feel disappointed without becoming depressed, feel frustrated without becoming angry, and feel uncertain without becoming anxious. You acknowledge negative emotions as temporary visitors, not permanent residents. You feel them fully, learn from them, and then let them pass naturally. The technique for developing emotional flexibility is called the RAIN method. When you experience a negative emotion, you first recognize what you're feeling without judgment. Then you allow the emotion to be present, without trying to change it or make it go away. Next, you investigate the emotion with curiosity. Where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts are creating it? What is it trying to tell you? Finally, you practice non-identification, remembering that you are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that observes emotions. The third component is developing a growth mindset about your own capabilities. Dr. Carol Dweck's research at Stanford University revealed that people with a fixed mindset believe their abilities, intelligence, and talents are static traits that can't be significantly developed. People with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed through dedication, hard work, and learning from failure. This difference in mindset creates completely different responses to challenges. Fixed mindset people avoid challenges because they might reveal inadequacy. Give up easily when things get difficult. See effort as a sign of low ability. Ignore negative feedback and feel threatened by others' success. Growth mindset people embrace challenges as opportunities to learn. Persist through obstacles. See effort as the path to mastery. Learn from criticism and find inspiration in others' success. To develop a growth mindset about resilience, you need to understand that your current level of mental strength is not your permanent limit. Every time you successfully handle a difficult situation, you expand your capacity to handle future difficulties. Every time you bounce back from a setback, you prove to yourself that you're more resilient than you previously thought. The fourth component is building what psychologists call psychological capital, which consists of 4 elements: hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism. Hope is your ability to find multiple pathways to your goals and maintain the motivation to pursue them. Efficacy is your confidence in your ability to take action and succeed. Resilience is your capacity to bounce back from adversity. Optimism is your tendency to expect positive outcomes and attribute success to internal factors. These 4 elements work synergistically to create unshakable mental strength. When you have hope, you don't give up. When one approach doesn't work, you find another way. When you have efficacy, you take action instead of feeling helpless. When you have resilience, you recover quickly from setbacks. When you have optimism, you maintain the energy and motivation to keep moving forward. The 5th component is developing what Viktor Frankl called the last of human freedoms. The ability to choose your attitude in any given circumstances. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, discovered that even in the most extreme conditions, people retain the power to choose how they respond mentally and emotionally to their situation. This freedom is your ultimate source of resilience because it means that no external circumstance can determine your internal experience without your permission. You can choose to find meaning in suffering, growth in challenges, and opportunity in adversity. This choice is always available to you regardless of what's happening around you. Building bulletproof mental resilience is like building physical strength. It requires consistent practice, progressive challenges, and patience with the process. But once you develop true resilience, you become unstoppable because you know that you can handle whatever life brings your way and emerge stronger from every experience. Chapter 7: The Visualization Revolution. Programming your subconscious mind for success. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real experience. This is not motivational theory. This is neuroscientific fact. When you visualize an action, your brain fires the same neural pathways as when you actually perform that action. This discovery has revolutionized our understanding of human potential and provides you with one of the most powerful tools for developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude. Dr. Alvaro Pascalian at Harvard Medical School conducted a groundbreaking study that proves the power of mental rehearsal. He had 3 groups of people learn a complex piano sequence. The first group physically practiced the sequence for 2 hours daily. The second group only visualized playing the sequence for 2 hours daily without touching a piano. The third group did nothing after 5 days. Brain scans revealed that the group who only visualized showed almost identical brain changes to the group who physically practiced. Both groups significantly outperformed the control group. This means that when you consistently visualize yourself embodying a positive mental attitude, handling challenges with confidence, and achieving your goals, you're literally rewiring your brain to make these behaviors more natural and automatic. You're programming your subconscious mind to support the reality you want to create rather than the reality you want to escape. Most people either don't visualize at all or they visualize randomly and inconsistently. They might daydream about success occasionally, but they don't approach visualization as a systematic mental training program. This is like going to the gym once every few weeks and expecting to build significant muscle. Transformational visualization requires specific techniques, consistent practice, and strategic programming. The first level of transformational visualization is outcome visualization, where you create detailed mental movies of yourself, achieving your goals, and embodying the positive mental attitude you want to develop. But this isn't just casual daydreaming. This is high-definition mental rehearsal where you engage all 5 senses and create an experience so vivid that your subconscious mind accepts it as real. Choose a quiet time and place where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and create a mental movie of yourself 6 months from now. Fully embodying an unbreakable positive mental attitude. See yourself waking up with energy and enthusiasm, handling challenges with calm confidence, maintaining optimism despite setbacks, and inspiring others with your positive presence. Make the images bright, colorful, and detailed. Add sounds, smells, textures, and emotions. The more vivid you make the visualization, the more powerful its impact on your subconscious programming. The second level is process visualization, where you mentally rehearse the specific thoughts, behaviors, and responses that will help you develop and maintain a positive mental attitude. This is where visualization becomes practical training for real-life situations. Identify specific challenging situations where you currently struggle to maintain positivity. Maybe it's dealing with criticism, handling work stress, facing rejection, or managing conflict. Create detailed visualizations where you see yourself handling these exact situations with complete positivity and confidence. Visualize yourself choosing empowering thoughts, maintaining emotional control, finding solutions instead of dwelling on problems, and emerging from these challenges stronger than before. The key is to visualize the internal process, not just the external outcome. See yourself catching negative thoughts and immediately replacing them with positive ones. Feel yourself choosing gratitude over complaint, solution over problem, growth over comfort. Visualize your internal dialogue being supportive, encouraging, and empowering. This process visualization trains your brain to automatically respond positively in challenging situations. The third level is identity visualization, which is perhaps the most powerful form of mental programming. This involves visualizing yourself as the type of person who naturally embodies unbreakable positivity. You're not just visualizing positive behaviors. You're visualizing a complete identity transformation. Create a detailed mental image of your ideal self. The version of you who has fully developed an unbreakable positive mental attitude. How does this person walk, talk, and carry themselves? How do they respond to stress, criticism, and setbacks? What do they believe about themselves and their capabilities? How do they treat others? What kind of energy do they radiate? Spend time each day visualizing yourself as this person. See through their eyes, feel their confidence, think their thoughts, and embody their energy. The more you rehearse this identity mentally, the more your subconscious mind will guide your behavior to align with this vision. The fourth level is future memory creation, where you use visualization to create positive expectations about your future experiences. Your brain is constantly making predictions about the future based on your past experiences and current beliefs. If you've experienced mostly negative outcomes in the past, your brain will predict more negative outcomes in the future. But you can override this programming by creating vivid mental memories of positive future experiences. Visualize specific upcoming events, meetings, conversations, and challenges going extremely well. See yourself handling these situations with perfect positivity, confidence, and success. Create these visualizations with such detail and emotional intensity that they feel like memories of experiences you've already had. This programs your subconscious mind to expect positive outcomes and notice opportunities that align with these expectations. The fifth level is worst-case scenario visualization, which might seem counterintuitive for developing positivity, but it's actually a powerful resilience-building technique. The goal is not to focus on negative outcomes but to visualize yourself maintaining perfect positivity and finding opportunity even in worst-case scenarios. Choose your biggest fear or worst-case scenario. Now visualize this situation occurring but see yourself responding with complete calm, confidence, and positivity. Visualize yourself finding the hidden opportunity, learning valuable lessons, discovering inner strength you didn't know you had, and ultimately emerging stronger than before. This technique eliminates fear and builds unshakable confidence because you know you can maintain positivity no matter what happens. The science behind visualization is clear. Your brain doesn't distinguish between imagined and real experiences. When you consistently visualize positive outcomes, confident responses, and empowering behaviors, you're literally programming your subconscious mind to make these experiences your reality. You're training your brain to automatically think, feel, and act in ways that support unbreakable positivity. Chapter 8. The Criticism Shield. Transforming negativity from others into fuel for your growth. One of the greatest threats to maintaining an unbreakable positive mental attitude is the negativity that comes from other people. Criticism, judgment, rejection, and negativity from others can instantly derail your confidence, trigger self-doubt, and send you spiraling into negative thinking patterns. But what if I told you that you could develop a psychological shield that not only protects you from others' negativity, but actually transforms it into fuel for your growth and success? The people with the strongest positive mental attitudes are not those who never face criticism or negativity from others. They are the people who have learned to process others' negativity in a way that strengthens rather than weakens their own positivity. They've developed what I call the criticism shield, a mental framework that filters incoming negativity and transforms it into valuable information or motivation. Here's the fundamental truth you need to understand. Criticism and negativity from others is rarely about you. It's almost always about them. When someone criticizes you, judges you, or tries to bring you down, they're revealing their own insecurities, fears, limitations, and internal struggles. Happy, confident, successful people don't waste their energy trying to tear others down. Only people who are struggling internally feel the need to project their struggles onto others. Dr. Beanie Brown's research on shame and vulnerability reveals that criticism often stems from people's own shame and fear of not being enough. When someone sees you taking risks, pursuing dreams, or maintaining positivity, it can trigger their own insecurities about their lack of action or negative mindset. Their criticism is their way of trying to bring you down to their level so they don't have to confront their own limitations. The first component of the criticism shield is source evaluation. Before you allow any criticism or negativity to affect your mental state, you need to evaluate the source. Ask yourself, is this person someone I respect and admire? Are they living the kind of life I want to live? Are they successful in the area they're criticizing me about? Do they have a track record of positive, constructive feedback? Are they speaking from a place of love and genuine desire to help me improve, or from a place of jealousy, insecurity, or negativity? If the source is someone you don't respect, who isn't successful, who has a history of negativity, or who seems motivated by jealousy or insecurity, their opinion should carry zero weight in your mind. In fact, criticism from these types of people should actually increase your confidence because it means you're doing something right. You're threatening their comfort zone, challenging their excuses, or making them uncomfortable with their own lack of progress. The second component is content analysis. Even when criticism comes from a questionable source, there might be a grain of truth or useful feedback hidden within it. Your job is to extract any valuable information while discarding the emotional poison that often surrounds it. Ask yourself, is there any factual information in this criticism that could help me improve? Is there a skill I could develop, a blind spot I could address, or a behavior I could modify? Can I separate the useful feedback from the personal attack? Can I take the information without taking the emotion? For example, if someone says, "You're too optimistic and unrealistic about your business goals," you could extract the useful information. Maybe I need to create more detailed plans or consider potential obstacles while discarding the personal attack. The implication that optimism is bad or that you're naive. The third component is intention detection. People communicate criticism with different intentions, and understanding their true intention helps you respond appropriately. Some people criticize to help you improve. Some criticize to make themselves feel superior. Some criticize because they're genuinely concerned about you. Some criticize because they're threatened by your success or positivity. When you can accurately detect someone's intention, you can respond in a way that protects your positive mental state. If someone is trying to help you improve, you can appreciate their concern while maintaining your confidence. If someone is trying to tear you down, you can recognize their insecurity and choose not to internalize their negativity. The fourth component is the gratitude flip, which is perhaps the most powerful technique for transforming criticism into fuel for your growth. Instead of getting defensive or hurt when someone criticizes you, you immediately flip the experience into gratitude. You thank them for revealing their true character, for showing you who not to take advice from, for giving you an opportunity to practice emotional regulation, for helping you develop thicker skin, or for motivating you to prove them wrong. This gratitude flip completely changes your emotional experience of criticism. Instead of feeling hurt, you feel empowered. Instead of feeling doubt, you feel more determined. Instead of questioning yourself, you strengthen your resolve. The criticism becomes fuel for your fire rather than water on your flame. The fifth component is the mirror technique, where you use others' negativity as a mirror to examine your own behavior and ensure you're not guilty of the same patterns when someone criticizes, judges, or attacks you. Ask yourself, do I ever treat others this way? Do I ever project my insecurities onto others? Am I ever motivated by jealousy or fear when I give feedback? This technique helps you grow from every negative interaction and ensures you don't become the type of person who tears others down. The sixth component is energetic protection, which involves consciously choosing not to absorb others' negative energy. Imagine you have an invisible shield around you that allows positive energy to pass through but bounces negative energy back to its source. When someone directs negativity toward you, visualize it hitting your shield and bouncing back to them without affecting your internal state. You can also practice the technique of energetic return, where you consciously send positive energy back to people who send you negativity. When someone criticizes or attacks you, silently wish them well, send them love, or hope they find the peace and happiness they're obviously lacking. This keeps your heart open and your energy positive while protecting you from their negativity. The seventh component is strategic response, where you choose how to respond to criticism based on your goals and values rather than your emotions. Sometimes the best response is no response. Sometimes it's a simple thank you for your perspective. Sometimes it's a thoughtful explanation of your position. Sometimes it's setting clear boundaries. The key is to respond from a place of strength and positivity rather than defensiveness and negativity. Your response should reflect the person you want to be, not the person their criticism might temporarily trigger you to become. When you master the criticism shield, you become virtually immune to others' negativity. You can maintain your positive mental attitude regardless of what others say or do, because you understand that their words reveal more about them than they do about you. You transform every negative interaction into an opportunity for growth. And you use others' negativity as fuel for your own success and positivity. Chapter 9. The Compound Effect of Positive Habits. Building Unbreakable Positivity Through Daily Systems. Your life is not shaped by your intentions, your goals, or your momentary bursts of motivation. Your life is shaped by your habits. The small daily actions you take consistently without thinking. If you want to develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you cannot rely on willpower, inspiration, or trying to think positive thoughts. When you remember to do so, you must build a system of positive habits that automatically program your mind for positivity every single day. The compound effect is the principle that small consistent actions over time create massive results. This principle applies to every area of life, but it's especially powerful when applied to mental conditioning. When you consistently practice small positive habits daily, they compound over time to create an unshakable foundation of positivity that becomes your natural mental state. Most people fail to develop lasting positivity because they try to make massive changes all at once. They decide to completely transform their mindset overnight, maintain perfect positivity for a few days or weeks, then inevitably return to their old patterns when life gets challenging. This approach fails because it relies on motivation and willpower, both of which are finite resources that get depleted throughout the day. Sustainable positivity is built through habit, not willpower. When positive thinking becomes a habit, it becomes automatic, effortless, and consistent. You don't have to remember to be positive or force yourself to think optimistically. Your brain naturally defaults to positive patterns because you've trained it to do so through daily repetition. The first foundational habit is the morning positivity protocol, which programs your mind for positivity before you encounter any external negativity. Your mental state in the first hour of your day sets the tone for your entire day. Yet most people immediately expose themselves to negative news, stressful emails, or overwhelming to-do lists the moment they wake up. Your morning positivity protocol should include at least 3 elements: gratitude practice, positive visualization, and empowering self-talk. Spend the first 10 minutes of your day focusing on 3 things you're grateful for. Visualizing your day going perfectly and repeating positive affirmations about your capabilities and expectations. This isn't just feel-good motivation. It's strategic mental programming. When you consistently start your day with positive inputs, you prime your reticular activating system to notice opportunities, solutions, and positive experiences throughout your day. Your brain literally becomes biased toward positivity because you've trained it to expect positive experiences. The second foundational habit is the evening reflection ritual, which helps you process your day through a positive lens and program your subconscious mind during sleep. Before you go to bed, spend 5 minutes reflecting on 3 wins from your day, 3 things you learned, and 3 things you're looking forward to tomorrow. This ritual serves multiple purposes. It trains your brain to automatically scan for positive experiences and learning opportunities. It helps you end each day feeling accomplished and optimistic. It programs your subconscious mind with positive content while you sleep, and it builds momentum and excitement for the following day. The third foundational habit is the negativity interrupt pattern, which stops negative thinking spirals before they gain momentum. Throughout your day, whenever you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, complaining, or focusing on problems, you immediately interrupt the pattern with a specific positive redirect. Create a simple phrase or action that serves as your interrupt pattern. It could be saying, "cancel that," and immediately stating something you're grateful for. It could be taking 3 deep breaths and asking, "What's the opportunity here?" It could be snapping your fingers and reciting a positive affirmation. The specific technique matters less than consistency in using it. The fourth foundational habit is the solution-focused questioning pattern, which trains your brain to automatically look for solutions instead of dwelling on problems. Whenever you face a challenge, setback, or difficult situation, you immediately ask yourself 3 questions. What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What's one small action I can take right now to improve this situation? These questions reprogram your brain's default response to challenges. Instead of getting stuck in problem-focused thinking, you automatically shift into solution-focused thinking. Over time, this becomes your natural mental pattern, making you more resilient, resourceful, and optimistic. The fifth foundational habit is the daily success acknowledgement practice, which builds confidence and positive momentum by regularly celebrating your progress and achievements. Most people are quick to notice what goes wrong but slow to acknowledge what goes right. This creates a mental environment where problems feel overwhelming and progress feels insignificant. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you accomplished, no matter how small. This could be completing a task, having a positive interaction, learning something new, exercising, eating well, or simply maintaining a good attitude during a challenging situation. The key is to train your brain to notice and celebrate progress consistently. The sixth foundational habit is the energy management protocol, which helps you maintain positive energy throughout the day by being strategic about your activities, interactions, and environment. Your energy level directly affects your ability to maintain a positive mental attitude. Yet, most people pay no attention to what drains their energy versus what energizes them. Create 2 lists: energy givers and energy drainers. Energy givers might include exercising, listening to music, spending time in nature, having meaningful conversations, or working on projects you're passionate about. Energy drainers might include negative people, cluttered environments, multitasking, or activities that don't align with your values. Consciously schedule more energy givers into your day and eliminate or minimize energy drainers. When you maintain high positive energy, staying positive becomes natural and effortless. The seventh foundational habit is the growth mindset activation practice, which keeps you focused on learning and improvement rather than perfection and comparison. Each day, Identify one thing you want to learn, improve, or experiment with. This could be a new skill, a different approach to a challenge, or simply a new perspective on a familiar situation. This habit keeps you in a state of curiosity and growth, which naturally generates optimism and excitement. When you're constantly learning and improving, you feel empowered and positive about your future potential. The power of these habits lies not in any single practice, but in their compound effect over time. When you consistently implement these 7 foundational habits, they create a comprehensive system that automatically programs your mind for positivity, resilience, and growth. You stop having to work at being positive. Positivity becomes your natural state because you've built a system that makes it inevitable. Chapter 10. The Social Magnetism Factor. Attracting positive people and repelling energy vampires. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mental attitude more than you probably realize. Humans are social creatures with mirror neurons that automatically mimic the emotions, energy, and attitudes of people around them. This means that spending time with negative people literally rewires your brain for negativity, while spending time with positive people rewires your brain for positivity. Dr. James Fowler and Dr. Nicholas Christakis conducted groundbreaking research at Harvard University that revealed happiness is contagious up to 3 degrees of separation. This means that if your friend's friend's friend is happy, it increases your chances of being happy by 6%. Conversely, if you're surrounded by negative, pessimistic, or energy-draining people, their attitudes will inevitably influence your own mental state. No matter how strong you think you are, most people are completely unconscious about the social influences in their lives. They maintain relationships out of habit, obligation, or convenience without considering the psychological impact these relationships have on their mental attitude and overall well-being. They tolerate energy vampires, engage with complainers, and allow negative people to drain their positivity because they don't understand the cost of these relationships. An energy vampire is someone who consistently drains your positive energy and leaves you feeling exhausted, frustrated, or negative after spending time with them. These are people who constantly complain, criticize, gossip, drama create, or focus on problems without seeking solutions. They're emotional parasites who feed off your positive energy and give nothing positive in return. The first step in developing social magnetism is conducting a relationship audit of everyone in your life. Create 3 lists: energy givers, energy neutral, and energy drainers. Energy givers are people who inspire you, support your growth, share positive perspectives, and leave you feeling energized after spending time with them. Energy neutral people neither significantly add to nor subtract from your energy. Energy drainers consistently leave you feeling depleted, frustrated, or negative. Be brutally honest in this assessment. Consider not just how people make you feel in the moment, but how they influence your thinking patterns, your confidence levels, and your overall outlook on life. Some people might be fun to be around but consistently reinforce negative thinking patterns or limiting beliefs that sabotage your growth. The second step is strategic relationship management, where you consciously increase your time with energy givers and decrease your time with energy drainers. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting people out of your life completely, but it does mean being strategic about how much influence you allow them to have over your mental state. For energy drainers, you can't eliminate completely, such as certain family members or coworkers. Develop specific strategies to minimize their negative impact. This might include limiting the topics you discuss with them, setting time boundaries for interactions, or using techniques to protect your energy during conversations. For energy givers, consciously invest more time and energy in these relationships. Reach out more frequently, engage in deeper conversations, and look for ways to add value to their lives. These relationships are investments in your own mental well-being and should be prioritized accordingly. The third step is developing positive social magnetism, which means becoming the type of person who naturally attracts other positive people while repelling energy vampires like attracts like in the social world. When you consistently embody positivity, optimism, and growth-focused thinking, you become a magnet for others who share these qualities. Positive people are attracted to others who are solution-focused rather than problem-focused, growth-oriented rather than fixed-minded, optimistic rather than pessimistic, supportive rather than competitive, and authentic rather than fake. When you develop these qualities, you automatically start attracting higher quality relationships into your life. The fourth step is mastering the art of positive influence, where you learn to elevate the people around you rather than being dragged down by them. Instead of being a victim of others' energy, you become a source of positive energy that influences others to be more positive. This involves several specific techniques. Asking solution-focused questions when people bring you problems. Redirecting negative conversations toward positive topics. Sharing inspiring stories and perspectives. Celebrating others' successes enthusiastically and offering encouragement and support during challenging times. When you consistently practice positive influence, several things happen. Negative people naturally drift away from you because your energy makes them uncomfortable with their own negativity. Neutral people become more positive when they're around you. And positive people are drawn to you because you enhance their own positivity. The fifth step is building a personal board of advisors, which is a small group of highly positive, successful and growth-oriented people who serve as your inner circle. These are the people you turn to for advice, support and inspiration. They challenge you to grow, believe in your potential and hold you accountable to your highest standards. Your board of advisors might include mentors, coaches, close friends, family members, or colleagues who embody the qualities you want to develop. The key is that these people are living the kind of life you want to live and maintaining the kind of mental attitude you want to maintain. Regular interaction with your board of advisors serves as constant positive programming. Their perspectives, beliefs, and attitudes become part of your own mental environment, reinforcing your positive mental attitude and supporting your continued growth. The sixth step is creating positive social rituals that strengthen your relationships with positive people while naturally excluding negative influences. This might include regular workout sessions with health-conscious friends, book clubs with growth-minded individuals, mastermind groups with ambitious entrepreneurs, or volunteer activities with service-oriented people. These rituals create consistent opportunities for positive social interaction while building deeper relationships with like-minded individuals. They also make it easier to naturally distance yourself from negative influences because you're too busy with positive activities and relationships. The seventh step is developing what I call emotional boundaries, which protect your mental attitude from being contaminated by others' negativity. Emotional boundaries are internal rules about how much you allow others' emotions and attitudes to affect your own mental state. Strong emotional boundaries mean you can be compassionate and empathetic without absorbing others' negative energy. You can listen to someone's problems without making their problems your own. You can care about others without being responsible for their emotional state. You can maintain your positive attitude even when surrounded by negativity. When you master social magnetism, you create a positive feedback loop that continuously reinforces your unbreakable positive mental attitude. You attract positive people who support your growth and positivity while naturally repelling negative influences that would undermine your progress. Your social environment becomes a constant source of inspiration, encouragement, and positive reinforcement rather than a source of drama, negativity, and energy depletion. Chapter 11. Advanced Mindset Mastery. The elite mental strategies that separate champions from everyone else. There's a level of mental mastery that goes beyond basic positive thinking, beyond simple gratitude practices and beyond ordinary resilience techniques. This is the realm of elite mental performance, where your positive mental attitude becomes so deeply integrated and powerfully developed that it operates like a superpower, giving you advantages that most people can't even comprehend. The difference between someone who has developed basic positivity and someone who has achieved advanced mindset mastery is like the difference between someone who can ride a bicycle and someone who can perform Olympic-level gymnastics. Both are impressive, but one represents a completely different level of skill, precision and capability. Elite performers in every field, from professional athletes to world-class entrepreneurs to legendary leaders, all share certain advanced mental strategies that allow them to maintain unbreakable positivity even under extreme pressure, uncertainty, and adversity. These strategies are not taught in schools, rarely discussed in books, and unknown to 99% of the population. The first advanced strategy is paradoxical thinking, which is the ability to hold two seemingly contradictory ideas in your mind simultaneously without mental conflict. Most people's minds operate in binary terms: either or, good, bad, success, failure, positive, negative. But reality is far more nuanced. And elite mental performers understand that the highest levels of wisdom often exist in paradoxes. For example, you can be completely confident in your abilities while simultaneously being humble about how much you still need to learn. You can be totally committed to your goals while being completely detached from specific outcomes. You can feel deep gratitude for your current situation while maintaining intense ambition for something greater. You can acknowledge real problems and challenges while maintaining unwavering optimism about finding solutions. This paradoxical thinking prevents the mental rigidity that causes most people to break under pressure. When your mind can flex between different perspectives and hold multiple truths simultaneously, you become virtually unshakable because you're not dependent on any single viewpoint or outcome for your mental stability. The second advanced strategy is temporal perspective mastery, which is the ability to consciously shift your time perspective to maintain optimal mental states in any situation. Most people are unconsciously trapped in one temporal perspective. They're either stuck in the past, overwhelmed by the present, or anxious about the future. Elite mental performers can consciously choose which time perspective serves them best in any given moment. When they need motivation, they focus on their inspiring future vision. When they need peace, they focus on present moment awareness. When they need wisdom, they reflect on lessons from the past. When they need resilience, they zoom out to see the bigger picture across decades. This temporal flexibility means they're never trapped by circumstances because they can always find a time perspective that empowers them. If the present moment is challenging, they can zoom out to see how this challenge fits into their larger life story. If the future feels uncertain, they can zoom into the present moment and focus on what they can control right now. The third advanced strategy is identity fluidity, which is the ability to consciously shape and reshape your identity to support your goals and maintain positivity. Most people have a fixed identity that was shaped by their past experiences, other people's opinions, and societal conditioning. This fixed identity becomes a mental prison that limits their potential and restricts their ability to adapt and grow. Elite performers understand that identity is not fixed. It's fluid and can be consciously designed. They regularly reinvent themselves, try on new identities, and shape their self-concept to support their current goals and challenges. If they need to be more confident, they step into the identity of a confident person. If they need to be more creative, they embody the identity of an innovative thinker. If they need to be more resilient, they adopt the identity of someone who thrives under pressure. This identity fluidity prevents them from being limited by past versions of themselves and allows them to constantly evolve and upgrade their capabilities. They're not bound by thoughts like "I'm not the type of person who," because they understand they can become any type of person they choose to be. The fourth advanced strategy is metacognitive awareness, which is the ability to think about your thinking, observe your mental processes, and consciously direct your cognitive resources. While most people are completely unconscious of their mental patterns, elite performers are like master chess players of their own minds, aware of every move and strategic about every mental decision. This involves developing what psychologists call the observing self, the part of your consciousness that can step back and watch your thoughts, emotions, and reactions without being controlled by them. When you develop strong metacognitive awareness, you become the director of your mental experience. Rather than just an actor following an unconscious script, you can observe when your mind starts to drift toward negativity and consciously redirect it toward positivity. You can notice when your energy is dropping and take specific actions to restore it. You can recognize when you're operating from fear rather than confidence and make conscious adjustments. This level of mental self-awareness gives you unprecedented control over your psychological experience. The fifth advanced strategy is systemic thinking, which is the ability to see how everything in your life is interconnected and how small changes in one area can create massive improvements across all areas. Most people think linearly. If I want to improve my career, I focus only on career-related activities. But elite performers understand that everything affects everything else. They know that improving their physical fitness will enhance their mental clarity, which will improve their work performance, which will increase their confidence, which will improve their relationships, which will boost their overall happiness and positivity. They design their lives as integrated systems where every element supports and reinforces every other element. This systemic approach means they can create positive spirals where small improvements in one area trigger improvements in multiple other areas, leading to exponential growth in their overall life satisfaction and mental attitude. The sixth advanced strategy is energy alchemy, which is the ability to transform any type of energy, including negative energy, into fuel for your goals and growth. While most people try to avoid negative experiences and emotions, elite performers have learned to alchemize these experiences into power. They transform anger into determination, frustration into motivation, disappointment into wisdom, and setbacks into comebacks. They've developed the mental skill to extract value from every experience, regardless of how challenging or negative it might initially appear. This means nothing can truly defeat them because they can find a way to use any experience as fuel for their continued growth and success. The seventh advanced strategy is reality creation consciousness, which is the understanding that you're not just observing reality. You're actively participating in creating it through your thoughts, beliefs, expectations, and actions. This goes beyond positive thinking to a deep understanding of how consciousness interacts with reality to create experiences. Elite performers understand that their mental state doesn't just affect how they feel. It affects what opportunities they notice, what people they attract, what actions they take, and ultimately what results they create. They take full responsibility for their mental state because they understand it's their primary tool for creating the reality they desire. When you master these 7 advanced strategies, you transcend ordinary positive thinking and enter the realm of true mindset mastery. Your mental attitude becomes unbreakable, not because nothing can affect it, but because you've developed the skills to transform anything that affects it into something that strengthens it. Chapter 12. The Consistency Code. How to maintain unbreakable positivity for decades, not days. The graveyard of personal development is filled with people who experienced powerful breakthroughs, felt inspired for weeks or months, then gradually returned to their old patterns of thinking and being. They read the books, attended the seminars, felt the motivation, made the commitments, but failed to solve the ultimate challenge. How to maintain their positive mental attitude consistently over years and decades, not just days and weeks. This is the difference between transformation and temporary change. Temporary change is what happens when you rely on motivation, willpower, or external inspiration to maintain your positive attitude. Transformation is what happens when you build systems, habits, and internal structures that make positivity your natural default state regardless of external circumstances or internal fluctuations. The secret to long-term consistency lies not in perfect execution, but in building what I call antifragile systems. These are mental and behavioral systems that actually get stronger when challenged, more resilient when tested, and more automatic when disrupted. Most people build fragile systems that break down under pressure, but elite mental performers build systems that thrive under pressure. The first element of the consistency code is progressive adaptation, which means your positive mental attitude system must be designed to evolve and strengthen over time rather than remaining static. Just like your physical muscles need progressive overload to continue growing, your mental muscles need progressive challenges to continue developing. This means regularly increasing the difficulty of your mental training. If gratitude practice becomes easy, you expand it to include gratitude for challenging situations. If positive self-talk becomes automatic, you work on helping others develop positive self-talk. If maintaining optimism during minor setbacks becomes effortless, you prepare for maintaining optimism during major crisis. The key is to always be slightly outside your comfort zone mentally. When maintaining positivity becomes too easy, you know it's time to level up your challenges and expand your capabilities. This progressive approach ensures you're always growing stronger rather than maintaining the status quo. The second element is redundant systems design, which means building multiple pathways to maintain your positive mental attitude so that if one system fails, others automatically kick in to maintain your psychological state. Most people rely on one or two techniques for staying positive. But when those techniques are disrupted by circumstances, their entire mental attitude collapses. Elite performers build redundancy into their mental systems. They have morning routines and evening routines. They practice gratitude and visualization and positive self-talk. They have daily habits and weekly practices and monthly reviews. They have internal techniques and external support systems. This redundancy ensures that even if several systems are disrupted simultaneously, their positive mental attitude remains intact. The third element is environmental design, which means structuring your physical, social and digital environments to automatically support your positive mental attitude without requiring conscious effort. Your environment is constantly programming your subconscious mind, so you need to ensure this programming supports rather than sabotages your positivity. This includes curating your social media feeds to show only inspiring and educational content. Surrounding yourself with positive books and motivational materials, playing uplifting music in your car and home, decorating your spaces with visual reminders of your goals and values, and systematically removing or minimizing exposure to negative influences. When your environment is properly designed, maintaining positivity becomes effortless because you're constantly receiving positive inputs that reinforce your desired mental state. You're not fighting against your environment. Your environment is supporting your growth. The fourth element is cyclical renewal, which recognizes that even the strongest positive mental attitude systems need periodic renewal to prevent stagnation and maintain freshness. Just like athletes have off-seasons to recover and prepare for the next season, your mental training needs cycles of intensity and recovery, challenge and consolidation, expansion and integration. This might mean taking periodic breaks from certain practices to prevent them from becoming mechanical, regularly introducing new techniques to keep your training fresh, scheduling quarterly reviews to assess and adjust your systems, or taking annual retreats to reconnect with your deeper purpose and motivation. The goal is not to maintain the exact same practices forever, but to maintain the same commitment to growth while allowing your methods to evolve and adapt over time. The fifth element is integration mastery, which means weaving your positive mental attitude practices so deeply into your daily life that they become invisible and automatic. Most people treat positivity practices as separate activities they do in addition to their regular life. But true mastery means integrating these practices into everything you do. This means practicing gratitude while commuting, doing visualization during exercise, practicing positive self-talk during routine activities, and finding opportunities for growth mindset development in every conversation and interaction. When positivity becomes integrated into everything rather than separated from everything, it becomes unshakable because it's not dependent on specific times, places or circumstances. The sixth element is community integration, which means surrounding yourself with other people who are committed to long-term positive mental development. Individual willpower and motivation are limited, but community support and accountability can sustain you through decades of growth. This might involve joining mastermind groups focused on personal development, finding accountability partners who share your commitment to positivity, participating in communities of like-minded individuals, or even creating your own support network of people who are serious about maintaining long-term positive mental attitudes. When you're surrounded by others who are on the same journey, maintaining your own commitment becomes much easier because you're supported by collective energy and mutual accountability. The seventh element is purpose alignment, which means connecting your positive mental attitude development to something bigger than yourself. Short-term motivation is often selfish. You want to feel better, achieve more, or solve your own problems. But long-term consistency requires connecting your growth to a larger purpose that transcends your personal desires. This might mean committing to positivity because you want to be a better parent, leader, or role model. It might mean seeing your positive mental attitude as a way to serve others, contribute to your community, or make a positive impact in the world. When your personal development is connected to service and contribution, it becomes sustainable because it's not just about you anymore. The eighth element is failure integration, which means building your systems to not just survive setbacks and failures, but to actually use them as fuel for stronger consistency. Most positive mental attitude systems are fragile because they're built on the assumption that you'll execute perfectly, but reality includes failures, setbacks, and periods of inconsistency. Elite systems are designed to bounce back stronger from failures. They include protocols for getting back on track after missing days or weeks of practice. They have procedures for learning from setbacks and using them to strengthen your systems. They treat failures as data for improvement rather than evidence of inadequacy. When you build failure integration into your systems, temporary setbacks become stepping stones to stronger long-term consistency rather than reasons to abandon your commitment to unbreakable positivity. Chapter 13. Leadership through Positivity. How your mental attitude becomes a force that transforms others. True leadership has nothing to do with titles, positions, or authority. True leadership is the ability to influence others through the power of your presence, your example, and your energy. When you develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you automatically become a leader because people are naturally drawn to and influenced by authentic positivity, confidence, and emotional strength. Your mental attitude is contagious. Every interaction you have with another person either lifts them up or brings them down, either inspires them or discourages them. Either expands their sense of what's possible or reinforces their limitations. When you master your own mental attitude, you become a source of positive influence that can transform the lives of everyone around you. Dr. Daniel Glemon's research on emotional intelligence reveals that emotions spread through groups like viruses, and the most emotionally expressive person in any group sets the emotional tone for everyone else. This means that when you enter any room, meeting, or conversation with unbreakable positivity, you have the power to elevate the entire atmosphere and influence everyone present to operate from a higher mental and emotional state. This influence happens automatically and unconsciously through what neuroscientists call mirror neurons. These specialized brain cells cause people to unconsciously mimic the emotions, energy, and attitudes of those around them. When you embody genuine confidence, optimism, and positive energy, others can't help but feel more confident, optimistic, and positive themselves. The first principle of leadership through positivity is leading by example rather than by instruction. Most people try to influence others through advice, criticism, or telling them what they should do differently. But true influence happens through demonstration. When people see you maintaining positivity during challenges, finding solutions instead of dwelling on problems, and thriving despite setbacks, they automatically start to believe that this level of mental strength is possible for them, too. Your example gives others permission to raise their own standards. When they see you refusing to engage in gossip, they feel inspired to eliminate gossip from their own conversations. When they see you maintaining optimism during difficult times, they feel empowered to choose optimism in their own challenges. When they see you growing from failures instead of being defeated by them, they start to see their own failures as opportunities for growth. The second principle is positive expectation, which means seeing and calling forth the highest potential in every person you interact with. Most people relate to others based on their current behavior, past mistakes, or obvious limitations. But leaders with unbreakable positivity see past current circumstances to people's hidden potential and possibility. When you consistently expect the best from people, communicate confidence in their abilities, and treat them as if they're already the person they're capable of becoming, you create a psychological environment where they feel safe to step into their higher potential. Your positive expectations become self-fulfilling prophecies that help others become better versions of themselves. This doesn't mean being naive or ignoring real problems. It means choosing to focus on solutions rather than problems, strengths rather than weaknesses, and potential rather than limitations. When people feel that you believe in them, they start to believe in themselves more strongly. The third principle is emotional regulation mastery, which means maintaining your own positive mental state regardless of the emotional state of people around you. Many well-intentioned people lose their positivity when they're around negative people because they absorb others' emotions instead of maintaining their own emotional boundaries. Leadership through positivity requires developing the ability to remain calm, centered, and positive even when others are angry, frustrated, anxious, or upset. This doesn't mean being cold or uncaring. It means being a source of stability and strength that others can rely on during turbulent times. When you can maintain your positive mental attitude while others are struggling, you become an anchor of strength that helps them return to their own center. Your emotional stability gives them permission to let go of their negative emotions and step into a more positive state. The fourth principle is solution-focused facilitation, which means automatically redirecting conversations and interactions towards solutions, opportunities, and positive possibilities. Most group conversations naturally drift toward complaints, problems, and negative topics because that's what most people's minds are trained to focus on. As a positive leader, your role is to gently but consistently redirect these conversations toward more empowering directions. When someone brings up a problem, you ask about potential solutions. When someone complains about a situation, you ask what they could learn from it or how it might serve their growth. When someone expresses pessimism about the future, you help them identify reasons for optimism. This redirection happens through the questions you ask, the perspectives you offer, and the energy you bring to every interaction. Over time, people start to associate interacting with you with feeling more hopeful, empowered, and positive about their lives. The fifth principle is strength-based development, which means consistently noticing, acknowledging, and developing the strengths, talents, and positive qualities in others. Most people receive far more criticism than praise, more feedback about their weaknesses than recognition of their strengths. When you make it a practice to regularly acknowledge what people are doing well, celebrate their progress and encourage their natural talents, you become a source of confidence and motivation in their lives. People feel energized and inspired after interacting with you because you help them see their own value and potential more clearly. This recognition must be genuine and specific to be effective. Instead of general praise like "good job," you offer specific acknowledgement like "I really appreciate how you stayed calm under pressure in that meeting and found a creative solution that worked for everyone." The sixth principle is growth mindset cultivation, which means helping others see challenges, setbacks, and failures as opportunities for learning and development rather than evidence of inadequacy. Most people have been conditioned to fear failure and avoid challenges because they associate these experiences with judgment and shame. When you consistently respond to others' struggles with curiosity rather than judgment, questions rather than criticism, and encouragement rather than disappointment, you create a safe environment where people feel comfortable taking risks, making mistakes, and stretching beyond their comfort zones. You help people reframe their experiences by asking questions like, "What did you learn from this? How did this challenge help you grow stronger?" Just end of 4. End of C's end of 6. 1 would do differently next time. What strengths did you discover about yourself through this experience? The seventh principle is vision casting, which means helping others connect with compelling visions of their own potential and possibilities. Most people are so focused on current problems and limitations that they lose sight of what's possible for their future. As a positive leader, you help people see beyond their current circumstances, to envision the life, career, relationships, and personal growth they could create. You ask questions that help them clarify their dreams, identify their values, and imagine their ideal future. You help them see that their current situation is not their final destination. When people can see a clear, compelling vision of their future possibilities, they naturally feel more motivated, optimistic, and energized. Your role is to help them connect with this vision and maintain focus on it even when current circumstances are challenging. Leadership through positivity is not about being fake, ignoring real problems, or forcing people to be happy. It's about being a consistent source of strength, hope, and possibility in a world that often emphasizes weakness, fear, and limitation. When you master your own mental attitude, you become qualified to help others master theirs, and your influence becomes a force for positive transformation in every life you touch. Chapter 14. The Ripple Effect. Creating a legacy of positivity that impacts generations. Your unbreakable positive mental attitude is not just a personal achievement. It's a gift to the world. Every moment you choose positivity over negativity, solution over problem, growth over comfort. You're not just changing your own life. You're creating ripples of influence that extend far beyond your immediate circle, touching lives you may never know about and creating positive change that can last for generations. The most profound realization you can have about developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude is that it's not ultimately about you. Yes, you'll benefit tremendously from increased happiness, success, resilience, and life satisfaction. But the greater purpose is the positive impact you'll have on your family, friends, colleagues, community, and society as a whole. Research in social psychology demonstrates that individual behavior changes create expanding circles of influence. When you transform your own mental attitude, you influence your immediate family to become more positive. When your family becomes more positive, they influence their friends, coworkers, and extended networks. When these people become more positive, they influence their own circles of influence. This process continues expanding outward, creating positive change in communities, organizations, and ultimately society itself. Dr. James Fowler's research at Harvard revealed that happiness spreads through social networks up to 3 degrees of separation, meaning your positive mental attitude can influence people you've never met through the people they know who know you. This means that your commitment to unbreakable positivity could ultimately impact hundreds or even thousands of lives in ways you'll never fully know or understand. The first dimension of your positive legacy is family transformation. The mental attitude you model for your children, grandchildren, siblings, and extended family becomes part of their psychological DNA. Children are incredibly perceptive and absorb far more from what they observe than from what they're told. When they see you maintaining positivity during challenges, choosing growth over complaint and approaching life with optimism and confidence, they internalize these patterns as normal and possible. Your positive mental attitude gives the children in your life permission to believe that they too can be happy, successful, and resilient. You're literally programming their subconscious minds with empowering beliefs about what's possible in life. The confidence, optimism, and mental strength you model becomes part of their identity and influences every decision they make for the rest of their lives. This influence doesn't stop with the children you directly interact with. The children you influence will grow up to influence their own children, creating a multi-generational legacy of positive mental attitudes that can impact your family line for decades or even centuries to come. The second dimension is professional transformation. Your workplace becomes a laboratory for positive influence where you can demonstrate the power of unbreakable positivity in professional settings. When you consistently maintain a positive attitude during stressful deadlines, challenging projects, and difficult interpersonal dynamics, you show your colleagues that this level of mental strength is possible in real-world business environments. Your example influences others to raise their own standards. Approach challenges with greater confidence and maintain more positive relationships with coworkers and clients. This creates a more positive work culture that benefits everyone involved, increases productivity and creativity, and makes the workplace a more enjoyable and fulfilling environment. The professionals you influence will carry these positive patterns with them throughout their careers, influencing every organization they join and every person they work with. Your commitment to positivity in your professional life creates expanding circles of influence throughout entire industries and business communities. The third dimension is community transformation. Every interaction you have in your community, from casual conversations with neighbors to participation in community organizations, becomes an opportunity to spread positive influence. When you approach community involvement with optimism, solution-focused thinking, and collaborative energy, you help create a more positive community culture. Your positive mental attitude can influence local organizations to become more effective, community projects to be more successful, and neighborhood relationships to be more harmonious. You become a catalyst for positive change that helps create the kind of community where everyone feels more hopeful, connected, and empowered. The fourth dimension is mentorship multiplication. As you develop unbreakable positivity, you naturally become someone others seek out for guidance, support, and inspiration. Your positive mental attitude qualifies you to mentor others who are struggling with negativity, self-doubt, or mental challenges. Every person you mentor becomes a multiplier of your positive influence. When you help someone develop their own positive mental attitude, they go on to influence their own circles of family, friends, and colleagues. Each person you directly influence has the potential to influence hundreds of others throughout their lifetime. This mentorship doesn't have to be formal. It can happen through everyday conversations, social media posts, volunteer work, or simply being a positive presence in others' lives. Every time you choose to encourage rather than discourage, inspire rather than deflate, or support rather than criticize, you're engaging in mentorship that can change lives. The fifth dimension is societal transformation. When enough individuals develop unbreakable positive mental attitudes, the collective consciousness of society begins to shift. Problems that seemed impossible to solve become solvable when approached by people with positive solution-focused mindsets. Communities that seemed divided become united when filled with people who choose understanding over judgment and collaboration over competition. Your individual commitment to positivity becomes part of a larger movement of people who are choosing to raise the standards for human mental and emotional experience. You're contributing to a world where positivity, resilience, and mental strength become more common and more valued. The sixth dimension is innovation acceleration. Positive mental attitudes are essential for innovation, creativity, and breakthrough thinking. When you maintain unbreakable positivity, you're more likely to see opportunities others miss, attempt solutions others consider impossible, and persist through failures that stop others. Your positive approach to challenges and opportunities can lead to innovations, solutions, and breakthroughs that benefit not just you, but entire communities or industries. The problems you solve and the value you create through your positive mental attitude become part of your lasting legacy. The seventh dimension is inspiration perpetuation. Your story of developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude becomes a source of inspiration for others who are struggling with their own mental challenges. When people see that you've transformed your mindset and created positive change in your life, they believe that similar transformation is possible for them. Your example gives others hope during their darkest moments, courage during their biggest challenges, and faith in their ability to create positive change in their own lives. This inspiration can motivate others to begin their own journey of mental transformation, creating a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond your direct influence. Creating a legacy of positivity is not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about consistently choosing to be a force for good in the world, a source of hope rather than despair, a solution rather than a problem. When you commit to developing and maintaining an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you're not just improving your own life, you're contributing to the healing and elevation of the entire human family. Chapter 15, The Mastery Integration. Living as the embodiment of unbreakable positivity. You now possess the complete blueprint for developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude. You understand the science behind mental transformation, the specific techniques for rewiring your brain, the systems for maintaining consistency, and the strategies for sharing your positive influence with others. But knowledge without integration is merely intellectual entertainment. The final step is synthesizing everything you've learned into a unified way of being that makes unbreakable positivity not something you do but something you are. Mastery is not about perfection. It's about integration. It's about reaching a level of development where positive thinking, emotional regulation, solution-focused mindset, and resilient responses become so natural and automatic that they require no conscious effort. You don't have to think about being positive. You simply are positive because positivity has become your default mental and emotional state. This level of mastery represents a fundamental identity transformation. You're no longer someone who is trying to become more positive. You're someone who naturally embodies positivity and helps others discover their own capacity for mental strength and emotional resilience. Your positive mental attitude becomes as natural and automatic as breathing. The first characteristic of integrated mastery is unconscious competence. Just like a master musician no longer thinks about individual notes but simply expresses music, you no longer think about individual positive thoughts but simply express positivity. Your mind naturally defaults to gratitude, solution-seeking, growth-oriented thinking and optimistic expectations without conscious effort. This unconscious competence develops through months and years of consistent practice. The techniques you've learned gradually become internalized patterns that operate automatically. You don't have to remind yourself to look for opportunities in challenges. You automatically see opportunities. You don't have to force yourself to maintain optimism during setbacks. Optimism feels natural and logical. The second characteristic is adaptive flexibility. While your positive mental attitude becomes unbreakable, it also becomes infinitely flexible. You can maintain your core positivity while adapting your specific responses to any situation. You're not rigid in your positivity. You're fluid and responsive while maintaining your fundamental mental strength. This means you can be realistic about challenges while remaining optimistic about solutions. You can acknowledge pain and difficulty while maintaining confidence in your ability to grow through them. You can be humble about your limitations while being confident about your potential. This flexibility makes your positivity authentic, sustainable and effective in any circumstance. The third characteristic is effortless influence. Your positive mental attitude becomes so integrated that it influences others naturally and automatically without any conscious intention to influence. People feel better after interacting with you. They feel more hopeful about their own possibilities. They find themselves being more positive simply because they've spent time in your presence. This influence happens through your energy, your presence, and your way of being rather than through your words or actions. You don't have to try to be inspiring. Your authenticity is naturally inspiring. You don't have to try to help others feel better. Your genuine positivity creates an atmosphere where others naturally feel more positive. The fourth characteristic is integrated resilience. Your positive mental attitude becomes so deeply rooted that it automatically transforms any negative experience into fuel for further growth and strength. You don't have to work at finding the positive in difficult situations. You naturally see growth opportunities in every experience. This integrated resilience means that nothing can truly damage your core positivity because you've developed the ability to extract value and meaning from any experience. Setbacks become setups, failures become feedback, and challenges become opportunities for demonstrating and strengthening your mental mastery. The fifth characteristic is purposeful living. Your unbreakable positive mental attitude becomes the foundation for a life of deep meaning, significant contribution, and authentic fulfillment. You're no longer seeking happiness. You're expressing joy. You're no longer trying to succeed. You're naturally creating value. You're no longer working on yourself. You're serving others through the strength of your example. This purposeful living gives your positive mental attitude a depth and sustainability that goes beyond personal benefit. Your positivity serves something greater than yourself, which makes it virtually unshakable because it's not dependent on personal circumstances or outcomes. The sixth characteristic is continuous evolution. Even though your positive mental attitude becomes unbreakable, it never stops growing and evolving. You maintain a beginner's mind that constantly seeks new ways to deepen your understanding, expand your capabilities, and increase your positive impact on others. This continuous evolution keeps your positivity fresh, vibrant, and dynamic rather than stagnant or complacent. You're always growing, always learning, always discovering new dimensions of what's possible for human mental and emotional experience. The seventh characteristic is integrated wisdom. Your positive mental attitude becomes connected to deep wisdom about life, human nature, and the fundamental principles that govern happiness and success. You understand not just how to maintain positivity, but why positivity is aligned with the deepest truths about human flourishing. This wisdom makes your positivity unshakable because it's not based on naive optimism or denial of reality. It's based on a deep understanding of how life works, how humans grow, and how mental attitude shapes everything else. Your positivity becomes an expression of wisdom rather than just a psychological technique. The integration of these 7 characteristics represents the ultimate goal of developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude. You become someone who naturally embodies the very best of human mental and emotional potential. And your life becomes a demonstration of what's possible when someone commits fully to psychological excellence. This level of mastery is not reserved for a special few. It's available to anyone who is willing to commit to the process, practice the techniques, and persist through the inevitable challenges of transformation. The blueprint is clear, the methods are proven, and the only question that remains is whether you will commit to becoming the embodiment of unbreakable positivity. Your life is waiting for you to claim your power. Step into your potential and become the person you were meant to be. The world needs your positive influence, your example of what's possible and your contribution to the elevation of human consciousness. Your unbreakable positive mental attitude is not just a personal achievement. It's a gift to everyone whose life you touch. The choice is yours. The time is now. Your unbreakable positive mental attitude is not just possible. It's inevitable. If you commit to the process and trust in your unlimited potential for growth and transformation, your best life is waiting for you to claim it through the power of an unbreakable positive mental attitude.